everybody. Welcome to the Justin and Jim Sports Show. We really appreciate you being here tonight, and we're looking forward to a great show. So I'm going to pass it off to RJ.
Great. Awesome. So tonight, the revolution of the Black athlete has grown over generations. It has seen athletes find their voices away from the competition. It's no longer just shut up and dribble. These athletes have a platform that reaches millions even away from sports. And it's one event that wasn't realized of its significance until years after and its impact. The 1966 NCAA National Championship between Texas Western and Kentucky. The cultural impact is unmatched. Tonight, to celebrate Black History Month, we will be talking about it and the connection it has to our very home here in College Park. Take it away, Justin and Jim.
Good evening, and welcome to the Justin and Jim Sports Talk Show. My name is Jim Downs, and I am an athlete from St. Mary's County. I am proud to say I've been a Special Olympics athlete for 27 and a half years. I enjoy doing the show, and I hope everyone finds it interesting to continue to learn new sports facts.
Good evening and welcome to the show. My name is Justin Hunsinger, and I am an athlete leader from Montgomery County. I've been involved in Special Olympics since 2014, and I play basketball, softball, soccer, and golf. I'm happy you all could join us for a great evening of sports talk. On March 19th, 1966, the Texas Western Miners went up against the University of Kentucky in the 1966 NCAA championship game, the most important game in the history of college basketball. The Miners were the better team according to most, but because of racial pressures at the time, they were named as underdogs against the heavily favored Wildcats. The Black players on the team experienced horrendous discrimination and abuse, but they rose above it. They overcame all of it. And during the championship game, Don Haskins made history by starting 5 Black players to prove a point that their talent was authentic. The 66 Texas Western Miners, they absolutely dominated Kentucky because they were more skilled, stronger, and faster. Don Haskins and the Texas Western Miners changed the game of basketball forever. They made it possible for other Texas Western changed the game forever because they made it possible for other young African American athletes to play at major colleges, including Kentucky, where Coach Rupp recruited his first Black player 4 years later. Not only did they open up a door for African American basketball players like Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, and countless numbers of basketball players. They showed the whole world to trust the soul and quality of a person and not their appearance. The game changed the culture and was a true act of inclusion, acceptance, and equality during a time when the civil rights movement was advancing in America. Texas Western faced so much adversity that season. What they had to go through just to get to the national title game demonstrates inner strength, their resiliency, and their courage, and their ability to stand up for what is right and for freedom for all races. They are truly a tremendous inspiration to all people of all races and backgrounds. Fun fact, Pat Riley, team president of Miami Heat since 1995 and former head coach from 1995 to 2003, and then 2005 to 2008, was the leader of the 1966 Kentucky Wildcats. Today, Texas Western is named UTEP, which is known as the University of Texas at El Paso.
That historic game was played at the University of Maryland in College Park. It is part of the fabric of college basketball history and Maryland history. Speaking of the University of Maryland, it is my pleasure to welcome to the program Damon Evans, Director of Athletics at College Park. Damon Evans was named the Director of Athletics for the University of Maryland on June 25th, 2018. He oversees a department of 20 varsity sports and 500 student athletes, a full-time staff of over 200, and an annual budget of $95 million. Evans's philosophy of success for Maryland athletes is based on the concept of One Maryland, a vision of unity the entire Maryland community to achieve unparalleled success in College Park. Evans joined the Terrapins in December of 2014 and served as Executive Athletic Director and Chief Financial Officer. He has overseen all day-to-day operations for the athletic department since October of 2017, prior to his appointment as Director of Athletics. A four-year starter on Georgia's football team, Evans played in 3 bowl games under legendary head coach Vince Dooley. He earned a bachelor's degree in finance in 1992 and a master's degree of education and sports management in 1994, both from Georgia. Welcome, Damon.
Thank you so much, Jim. That was a great introduction. I really appreciate it. And Justin, I appreciate you. And it's great to be with all of you this evening.
Thank you, Damon. It's always great to see you. You're an inspiration to the community and the Special Olympics, and it's always a pleasure getting to talk to you, man.
Well, you know, you're my man, and I can't wait till we get together again and hang out and have some good times. And so we'll start off the good times tonight, and we'll keep on letting them roll.
Sounds great. Hello, Damon, and welcome to the show. Please tell me your thoughts on the 1966 Texas Western Miners team on overcoming adversity and discrimination.
Well, you know, you gave a great historical overview of Texas Western and now University of Texas at El Paso and what they've meant and all that they accomplished. You know, I had a chance I remember watching the movie Glory Road, and which I thought was a thrill. But in life, there are always pivotal moments throughout history that seem to change things and swing things a different way. When Don Haskins, the legendary coach then, decided that he was going to start 5 African-American basketball players, first, that takes a lot of courage during some very, very difficult times. It said a lot about him, about who he was as a person, and that he was willing to go against what society expected. But he also sent a message to the young men on that team, how much he cared about them and how he believed in them, and how he felt that it's best to put those individuals who deserve to be on the court, regardless of their race, the color of their skin, or what have you. When I think back to it and looking, it's interesting. It helped to lead to desegregation in the sporting world, especially in the Deep South. When you look at the Southwestern Athletic Conference and even the SEC, before that, they didn't have players playing at that level that happened to be African American. So it opened up the doors of desegregation, and that was significant because it always takes just one person to have the courage. And Don Haskins had the courage to do it against Kentucky and Adolph Rupp. So I applaud him, and I have to think that's had an impact on where I am today.
How did the Texas Western Championship game change the opportunities for Black players in college basketball?
Once I think people saw what could be accomplished by winning a national championship, everybody wants to be a winner. So when you see that done, you say, well, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. And so again, it's the opportunities that it presented for everyone, and especially Black people at that time. And it allowed the country to take notice. And even through the 60s and 70s, when things were more difficult, we started to see what I call a paradigm shift, change little by little, that has led us to where we are today. I'm grateful for it, but I'm always say, I look at people who are heroes. Don Haskins was a hero because he had the courage to stand out there on an island all by himself and do something that a lot of people would not do. That's what we need more of in our society today. If we have individuals who have the courage to face adversity head on, it really reveals who they are, and it really reveals the character of which they're made of.
The championship game was played at the University of Maryland Cole Fieldhouse in 1966. What was the effect of this historic game on the culture of UMD, on the campus and athletics?
You know, it's interesting. First and foremost, it's a point of pride that we were able to host that game here on our campus. When you think of the historical Cole Fieldhouse and all the events that have taken place inside that arena, I don't know if there's any more significant than what happened with Texas Western. So for our community to be able to host that, for our great campus to be able to host that, and it's a reflection of our campus today. And I want to give you an example of what I mean by that. We are an institution that is very diverse and inclusive. If you take a look across the board, there's been a lot of talk about the fact that the president of our institution happens to be African American. Me being the athletic director happens to be African American. And then our head football coach happens to be African American. I believe that history sets the tone and plays a significant part of what happens and what transpires. And that's why our institution is so open and accepting of things. While we still have a lot of work to do, what happened back then, you're seeing the effect today, not only on our campus, but within our community.
It was years before the significant impact of that single game was really noticed. Why do you think that is? And do you think that may have been a better thing with it reaching more generations?
Well, you know, it's funny when things happen at the time that they happen, that's not really, while that moment is impactful, it usually takes some time for people to realize what it meant. And it takes some time for people to become a little bit more accepting and to be able to reflect back on what was that moment of change within our nation, within our world, within our community that has gotten us to where we are today. And that's why we all reflect on the past. We look to the past for moments in time that changed how we move forward. So, you know, I think back to that game, it was interesting because even after they won the game, there were things that weren't done in their favor. Something as small as no one brought out the ladders to allow them to cut down the nets. Back in that time, if you look at history, the champion would go on the Ed Sullivan show. They weren't invited on the Ed Sullivan show. So they weren't given the same treatment, even when they won the national championship, that others had gotten before them. So it takes time, but the good thing about it is time always prevails. And in this case, while it may have been a year, 2, 3, the important part of it is that change did come.
What challenges did you face before you became the athletic director at Maryland?
Well, you know, as I came up in my career, I was fortunate enough, as you stated, Jim, that to play football at the University of Georgia. The fortunate part about that wasn't the playing of football. It was an opportunity to get an education, and football gave me that opportunity. And I wanted to make sure that I was able to not only get 1 degree, but get 2 degrees while playing football, which was a great experience. The challenges that I faced really, when I decided to become an athletic director, there were barriers. There weren't a lot of athletic directors across the country that looked like me. And when I say that, there weren't a lot of Black or African-American athletic directors out there. I had a lot of people telling me that I was too young and that there's no way that I could get to those heights at this day and age back then. And you know what? I always had belief in myself, and I always had belief in others that they would take a chance on me. And I was fortunate enough. I worked hard. I was selected as athletic director at Georgia at a very, very young age. And people would always ask me, what was it like to become, how did I feel being the first African-American AD and back then the SEC? And I said this, and I'll tell you guys this, my goal was not to become the first African-American AD. My goal was to become an AD, but I understood the significance of being a Black man and getting the opportunity in that role. And my goal is to pay it forward to others and provide opportunities for others.
How many jobs did you have before you became, how many jobs did you have before you came to Maryland?
Whoa, it's interesting. I've had a long ride. I worked at the SEC twice. I worked at Missouri. That makes 3. Georgia 4. I worked for a group called IMG 5. I worked for another company 6. I had about 8 jobs. I had about 8 jobs before I became the AD at Maryland. But all of those jobs have contributed to me being able to be the AD at the University of Maryland. I learned so much in all of them. I met so many different people, and I was able to develop relationships and see how different businesses work and run. And I try to take those relationships and what I've learned from all those jobs and apply some of that to what we do each and every day at the University of Maryland.
You were a 4-year football starter for the Bulldogs. Did your playing career help you in any way become a better athlete, better athletic director and leader in the business side of athletics?
I do think it contributed to that, because what I can say when I'm talking to student athletes and I'm talking to coaches, I've done it. I've been there. I understand what you're going through. I've been to the practices. I've gone to weight training. I've had to balance academics and athletics. So when the student athletes see you saying that and they know that you did it, they will listen to you a little bit more, and so will coaches. But it also gives me firsthand knowledge of what they're going through each and every day. And in the world of sports, and I think you guys know this, sports teaches us so many lessons, life lessons, whether it's commitment, work ethic, dedication, how to get along with others. One of the best things that I like about sports, you guys, is this. There are so many people that make up a team that come from different backgrounds. Teams are so diverse, from ethnicity, race, religion, socioeconomic, what have you. But when we come together as a team, we all got one purpose, and we're able to set aside our differences, not really set aside, but utilize those differences to go out there for the betterment of the team. So playing sports was great for me, and there's no doubt playing football at the University of Georgia helped me get to where I am today.
You recently became part of the board of directors for Special Olympics Maryland. What is the connection between UMD and SOMD? Why is this partnership so important?
Well, first of all, it's an honor for me to be on Special Olympics Maryland board. It's really something that fits right in with what we do at the University of Maryland, and specifically for me and what I believe in providing opportunities for individuals in sports and working with people who enjoy that part of our society. When Jim approached me about it, it was something that I felt really good about. I feel great about to this day. I've always wanted us at the University of Maryland to really focus in and have certain partnerships and align our partnerships and select partners that fit with the values that we have as an organization. And when you take a look at the values that we have at the University of Maryland, specifically in our athletics department, and the values that Special Olympics Maryland has, there's a lot of synergy there. And that synergy is important to me. And I'll sit here and say this, I got to give my man Justin credit. I got to know Justin over the years and enjoyed hanging out with him. And so when the opportunity presented itself, there was no way that I was going to say no, because I was going to get to work with a dear friend and have him help me and guide me through this process. So this is a wonderful organization with a great leader, and all of you here are amazing people because you back it so much. And I'm going to give all of my heart and soul to Special Olympics Maryland and do whatever I can to continue to help this organization achieve excellence.
Why is it important to create relationships and keep them in the sports industry as you advance in your career?
I think everything in life, I think relationships are so significant. I don't know if we can do anything without relationships. I'm a relationship-oriented person. I like to meet people. I like to learn about people. I like to understand people. I think one of the biggest things in leadership is to listen and to observe, and then to try to develop mutually beneficial relationships. So the relationships that I've been able to develop at the University of Maryland, through Special Olympics, all of those assist me, but more so, not just with doing my job, but helping me to understand what's going on around me, helping me to see through just what we do, to see how I can be a part of a much greater community. Everything, in my opinion, rises and falls on relationships. And I'm fortunate to been able to develop good relationships, and knowing that I would not be where I am today without those relationships.
Awesome. Well, right now, Damon, thank you so much for answering those questions. And we have some time for the guests, for the audience to ask some questions, if you're okay for it.
I'm wide open. Let's shoot away. Ask whatever you want.
Awesome. Let's see who has their hands raised.
I've got Sam Livingston. Sam, where'd you go? Sorry, Sam, I gotta unmute you. There you go, sir.
Hey, Damon, how are you?
I'm good, Sam. How are you?
Good. So I was actually reading through your bio on the Maryland website. You got a couple big awards. You got Athlete Director of the Year in 2009, as well as also Sports Business Journal's 40 Under 40. I got to give you a big round of applause for that. That's a big award.
Thank you so much.
I just want to ask you, what was it like to be one of 101's most influential minorities in sports?
Oh, it's funny, Sam, that you bring that up. I always tell people, when it came out, I was surprised, you guys. I had no idea that was going to happen. It was so early in my career. I was young. And to let everyone know, it was 101 and I was 100. But you know what my claim to fame is? You know who 101 was? LeBron James. So I was one ahead of LeBron James. But we see where his career has gone. And so, but it was an unbelievable achievement, because when I look back at the individuals who were on that list, I mean, Michael Jordan and all these great people, and the fact that I think I may have been 30 years old or something like that at the time, and for them to throw me on that list and consider, that was an achievement that I relish, and I appreciate you even knowing that, Sam. So it was a great achievement, and my claim to fame is still one ahead of LeBron. But I think if they put that list out today, LeBron might be number one.
I just got to bow down to you for a second.
All right, thank you, Sam. We're gonna go to Derek.
So it's great seeing Damon, and so what are like your roles like during the game? Is it like to make sure that everything's going like smooth and stuff like that, like during one of the basketball games?
Great question, Derek. It's interesting. We have so many sports going on, and we have a great staff of individuals who manage our game operations. I usually get an update before the game of what's going on. Really, the time where I get the most information is after the game to say how the game went off. Did we have any problems? But during the game, for me, if I'm at a basketball game, you guys, the majority of the time when I get to the game, I'm going around speaking to a lot of our donors. We talked about relationships earlier, going around talking to a lot of our donors just to see how they're doing, thanking them for all of their support. I usually up in our suite, we have a suite where we always host a group of individuals there. And so I'll go up there and I'll visit with them as well. During halftime, again, we have an area where I'll go visit with people. So most of my time, besides watching the game, is going around talking to people. Sometimes I'll go all around all the suites within whether it's football stadium or an Xfinity Center, and talking to people. The tough thing about that is I miss a lot of the games sometime. This year, it's been strange because we've been empty. There are no fans. So I've actually watched the games more this year than I have before, but I can't wait till we get fans back in the arenas.
Hi, Damon. I first met you back at the December board meeting. I just want to say again, welcome to the board.
Thank you.
My question is, what goes through your mind when you see African Americans who go on to the Olympics and they go on to break history and win many gold medals?
It's always a point of pride for me. Anytime anyone, first and foremost, is representing the United States and they have success in something like the Olympics, I have great pride in our country and feel fortunate to live in a great country. But when I see individuals such as African Americans achieve at a high level, I think you can point to, for a lot of African Americans, sometimes we don't think there's certain things that we can achieve. So the more individuals that are out there that we can point to that show that we can do it, that's important. And that's why I always talk to our student athletes about, I'm like, they need to see more people who look like them from an African American perspective so they can believe that they have a chance and that they can have great success. A lot of times when we have individuals that have gone on to have success, whether it's at the Olympic level or the professional level, I want to bring those individuals back to talk to our student athletes so they can understand their journey and what it took for them to get to those heights. So it's a point of pride, but also it's lessons learned. I'm always about education. How'd you do it? How'd you persevere? How'd you face adversity? How did you overcome? And I'll say this to you, Elena, I like to look at things as trying to be in the right frame of mind every time in order to get to where we want to be.
Awesome. Damon, I have a question for you. First, I love that you graduated from an SEC school because I'm SEC built as well, University of Alabama. First, what was the transition like moving from athletic director from an SEC school to a Big Ten school? And how did you manage that transition?
Well, it's interesting. The SEC and the Big Ten have a lot in common, but they have a lot of differences as well. SEC country is, the best way to describe it, they are crazy, avid, fanatical fans down there when it comes to football. I mean, it's football is a religion down south. It's just amazing. Big Ten is similar, but just a little bit different. They're the two most powerful conferences in the country, and what I mean by that, they carry the most influence, the Big Ten and the SEC, as it relates to Power 5 conferences and college athletics in general. In addition to that, both of those conferences generate the most revenue, and the Big Ten actually generates the most, and the SEC's is second. So a lot of similarities, different footprints geographically, but I really enjoyed both. And I think that I'm privileged to be able to say that I've worked in two really great conferences, and I love being a part of the Big Ten. The academic side of the Big Ten is significant. Big Ten basketball is just crazy right now. Big Ten football is off the charts, and then you start looking at lacrosse and field hockey and soccer and everything. One of the biggest differences, it's colder here.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, RJ. We're going to go to Joe Wu. Joe.
Hey, Damon.
Hey, Joe.
Joe, I'm your total fan. I'm Maryland University fan. My couple family go to University of Maryland.
All right.
Also, I think so. My next we would like to go to play your basketball team, University of Maryland basketball team. He's right now he graduated looking for school.
Okay.
Probably choosing the University of Maryland. I said I'm gonna looking for you.
I like it.
I like you help me a little bit because he's a good basketball player. He's a 6-point player. I saw him play very well.
Well, you know what? Tell them to come on over. Tell them to come on over. And we always have tryouts in our basketball program. And, you know, we've got a lot of guys who've made the team. You work hard. You never know what's going to happen. Maryland has great athletes out there, and you just got to bring your A game and be prepared.
Thank you, Joe. David Godoy, you are up.
My question will be, are there some of the players who happen to be bilingual and for the men's basketball team or the women's basketball team? Maybe they speak a little bit of Spanish and English?
Well, you know what, David, it's good to see you, my friend. I remember the last time we got together, so I'm glad to see you again. I think that's a very good question, and I don't know. I would assume that some of our kids are taking an additional language, but I don't want to say for sure if they're bilingual, because I think it takes a lot to be bilingual. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find out and see if we do have anyone on the men's or women's basketball team, and I'll follow up with you. But I think it's a good question, and I think it's something that is important. I will say this to you. I've been trying to teach myself Spanish for a while, and I got a long ways to go, my friend.
All right. Well, Damon, David offers a beginner Spanish class every Friday at 4 p.m. if you want to join.
I might need some help. There's no might about it. I do need some help.
All right.
I'm on that app called Babbel.
Thomas Smith, are you ready?
Welcome to Special Rooms, Maryland. How did you become an athletic director? What did you study in school?
Good question, Thomas. You know, it's interesting, you guys. I should share this with you. I was a finance major, undergrad finance, and I wanted to go work on Wall Street. I wanted to run a hedge fund. I thought I could go to Wall Street and, just to be candid with you, make a lot of money. I like money. I was fascinated by Wall Street. But there was a day on the football field that all changed. I saw some things going on that I didn't feel good about. And a coach said something to me that I didn't feel good about. And I remember walking off the field that day, and I said, you know what, maybe I can work in college athletics. Maybe I can affect change in a way that is good for student athletes. So I started looking into what does it take to be working college athletics. And so that day I switched from wanting to go work on Wall Street, and I was going to get my graduate degree. I was going to get an MBA. I changed from getting an MBA to getting a degree in sport management. And then from there, I went and got an internship at the SEC once I concluded my sport management degree. And the funny thing, Thomas, I wanted to work in student athlete development and the academic side of things because I felt like they worked the closest with the student athletes other than the coaches. But then I said to myself, if I really want to try to affect change, I need to get to the highest level. And that's when I set my sights on becoming an athletic director. And I put my head down and I worked hard, and I tried to do everything that I could to position myself to become an athletic director. And I'm fortunate to be in this role today.
Thank you, Thomas. I think we have a question from Melissa Jeffers, and that's, from what I can tell, is our last question. So Melissa.
Hi, Damien, right?
Melissa.
My question is, when I was there, it was, how do you make a shot like a dunk in the basket if it's like high?
You know what? You got to have some unbelievable legs and the ability to jump high. You know what I do now, Melissa? I was fortunate enough at one point in time in my life, I was able to dunk a basketball. I played basketball in high school and I could dunk a basketball with ease. But when you start getting older and you look up at that rim, I look and say, how in the heck did I do that? But these guys are young. They got unbelievable, what I call hops. They can jump extremely high. And it's a beauty to see them do what they do based upon their athleticism, but it takes some hard work. And so they work at it hard, lifting weights. And, you know, I like to see them dunk. I tell them, try to dunk on anybody you can.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Melissa. I did miss Tyler, so I owe him a question. So Damon, if you don't mind, one last one.
I think, and then we have the Hunsingers that want to ask a question too. I think I see them at the bottom. So I'm here for whenever.
Well, we don't play family favorites, but we will this time.
Hi, Damon. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Tyler?
I'm good. I have a favorite question for you. What is your? I know you're an athlete director. What is your top favorite sport out of all of them?
You know, that's, you know, it's funny. So first of this, I'm an avid sports fan. My wife thinks I'm crazy. I like to watch everything. And I even watch a lot of golf. And she says, how can you watch golf? It seems to just be so boring because nothing's going on. If you understand the game and you're like, there's a lot going on in this game and I wish I could play like they do. I like them all. If I had to pick sport, obviously I played football. I enjoyed playing college football, you guys. There's nothing like it. But on a side note, I wanted to play college basketball. I just was better in football than I was in basketball. So I could have gone to smaller schools in basketball and I was recruited by the bigger schools in football. So I'm an avid football and basketball fan, but across the board, there's not much I won't watch. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of curling in the Olympics. I love watching curling. And so I'm just going to be candid with you. Whoa. And they're doing all the things. I'm like, so they know how to move the ice, shave the ice. So I like it all, my friend.
Tyler, good question. All right. So you did reference the Hunsingers, so we're going to unmute and we will go to them.
Hey, Damon, thank you so much for coming on. This has been phenomenal. Thank you for your participation with Special Olympics and your involvement in knowing personally all our athletes. And I wanted to give a shout out to Coach Turgeon. They've done a clinic for Special Olympics the last, I don't know how many years. And even though with the pandemic going on, they're going to do a virtual clinic coming up. So the support that you and Coach Turgeon and all of them are in, the soccer coach, Sasha, had us in his suite a couple of years ago. And I wore my Maryland Terrapins soccer shirt. So just want to thank you all for your support of Special Olympics and our wonderful athletes.
Well, that means a lot. And thank you for making that statement. It's interesting. You know, you thank us, but I always go back and want to say thanks to you guys because the impact that you have on us is so far reaching. So it's not always about what we do for you. You guys are doing so much for us as well. And so I thank you for that. And I look forward to continuing the relationship and growing the relationship. And Jim made me do the polar bear plunge. We did it together. That water was cold. I think, Jim, it was like 19 degrees that day. But for Jim, he's used to it because he does them all the time. So I'm just grateful to be a part of it. And that's my first of many to come.
That's awesome. I'll just jump in, Jason, and then turn it back to our host. But Damon, again, I'd echo the Dan's and Kitty's praise and the words of support. And you talked about the plunge, man. That was a lot of fun. And I definitely look forward. We're going to have to get Coach Locks out because he said from the balcony he was going to do it in the Bay. So we're going to get him to Chesapeake Bay next year and get him in the water.
Yeah, we got him. We have to.
100%. If it's we get his players dragging him into the water, man, we'll get him in there. But I really just want to say thank you for taking the time tonight. I know it's interesting. You and I have talked a little bit during the pandemic. These Zoom meetings can zoom you out, man. So, and I know, notwithstanding the fact that you don't get people in your building watching your basketball teams play, there's just a lot going on. So for you to take the time to be with our guys tonight is just awesome. And I think the way I would put it too is a celebration of Black History Month. we got you as a great guest, and Jim and Justin, you guys did a great job, and RJ. So thank you for your commitment to our athletes. And it's great to see so many athletes on this evening. Just really appreciate you taking the time. And we have to finish with
I love it.
Terps. Go
Go
Terps.
Terps. Go Terps. Thanks for having me, you guys. I look forward to seeing you soon. We're going to have some good times together. If you ever need anything, you know where to find me, and I stand ready to assist you at any time.
Thanks again, Damon. Really appreciate your time. Justin and Jim, anything for Damon before he goes? Or he's welcome to stay around for Jim's Terp trivia if you want.
Hey, Damon, it's always a pleasure to see you. Would love it if you could stay on for the trivia. It's gonna be great, man. But I look forward to when we can hang out at football, basketball games, man. And I'm so happy you're on the board for Special Olympics. It's wonderful, man. And it's always a pleasure getting to talk to you. Thanks for coming on.
Well, Justin, it's good to see you, my friend. We're gonna hang here soon. I'll find you. I'll give you a call. We'll hang out. And this has been great for me. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to run, but I will tell you this. I'll hit you up soon within the next week. We'll catch up, chat a little bit, and just thanks for having me, brother.
Thank you, brother. And looking forward to hearing from you.
Definitely.
Go Terps, man.
Go Terps. Go Terps.
Thank you, Damon.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Damon.
Thank you,
Coach
Damon. Good to
Loxley,
see
hi.
you, bro.
Bye-bye.
Great job, Justin and Jim and RJ. So time for, we're not gonna have time for our DMV update around the horn, but we're gonna go to Jim's favorite 5 trivia. So Jim, we have a Terps theme tonight, right?
Right.
All right, so here's the first question of the evening. Please read it for our listeners.
Brenda Freeze coached this team before coming to Maryland in 2002.
All right, so these, what are our choices, Jim?
Ball State, Virginia, Arizona, or Minnesota.
All right. So we got the polling question open. We'll leave it open for about 45 seconds, and then Jim will reveal the answer to us. All right, 5 more seconds. Ready, Jim?
Ready.
We're gonna share the results. So it looks like there was a tie between Ball State and University of Virginia, but the answer is what, Jim?
Minnesota.
University of Minnesota. All right, so if you got the University of Minnesota, you got the first trivia question right for tonight. Our second poll question, we're gonna stop sharing. All right, here we go. This may be a hard one since I put this one in, Jim. I'll help you out with it.
The mascot and team for the University of Maryland is Terps. What is Terps short for?
All right, so your choices are terpenoids, turpitude, terrapins, or terpsichorean. So seems to be hands down here. The polling is going very clearly in one direction. So, so Terps is Terps is short for. We have 10 more seconds on the poll.
What does that last word even mean?
It's a, I can't tell you, it might be the real answer. It is not the real answer. All right, so if you guessed, what is the right answer, Jim?
Terrapins.
Terrapins, not the other ones. Yeah, so if you guessed that, well done. All right. I have another mascot question for you. Here we go, Jim.
The name of the University of Maryland mascot is Franklin, Yertle, Donatello, or Testudo.
That's right. So 4 famous turtles. Franklin, Yertle the turtle. If anyone's a Dr. Seuss fan, I think that's Yertle the turtle. Donatello, or Testudo. So we're gonna leave it open for 10 more seconds. Do you know the answer, Jim? Don't give it yet. Don't give it. All right, here we go. We're gonna put the results up. So most of you guessed Testudo. Jim, is that the right answer?
That is correct.
That is correct. All right, excellent. And then, let's see. Here we go.
The Maryland Terrapins consist of how many men's and women's varsity intercollegiate athletic teams?
Oh, yeah, left a typo there, but yeah. So how many men's and women's intercollegiate athletic teams are there at the University of Maryland? All right, we'll leave it open for 10 more seconds. Oh, this is a close one, Jim. All right, 2 more seconds, end polling. All right. So here are the results. Looks like the majority of people, or 40% say 24 teams. So I'll share this one since it's a question I added. So according to the website this afternoon, there are 19 men's and women's varsity athletic teams at the University of Maryland. So if you guessed 19, congratulations, good job. And then our last question of the day, Jim, are you ready?
Yes. Which sport has won the most NCAA championships? Men's lacrosse, field hockey, men's basketball, or women's lacrosse?
All right, so which sport at Maryland has won the most NCAA championships? All right, we'll give you another 10 seconds on this one. Lots of good choices here for sure. All right, we're gonna end the polling. So the results are, so Jim, looks like 20 people think that it's the men's basketball who has won the most NCAA championships. Do you know who it is?
It could be women's lacrosse.
Jim, you are absolutely right. It is women's lacrosse. Women's lacrosse has won 14 NCAA championships. So they are the most decorated for national championships at College Park. So there we go. Terps trivia. Jim and Justin, you ready to take us home now?
Yes.
Yeah, we're Jim, I'm ready after you, man.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed the show and continues to join us. We will be back on March 4th. Have a good night and be safe.
This is Justin with the Justin and Jim show on Zoom. Hope you all enjoy your evening and keep following us on our Zoom show. Thank you so much. You guys were great. Hope you join next time.
All right, thank you both. You've been enjoying the Justin and Jim Sports Talk Show. Join us in 2 weeks on March 4th as we talk more about sports in the DMV and at Special Olympics Maryland. And thank you to all who joined us tonight.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.